Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're talking about the spell Confusion.
Huh? Hmm? What are we talking about today? What? It could be anything. I don't understand. I'm confused.
All right, that's fantastic.
Thank you. I thought so. I'm a thespian, like I said a couple weeks ago.
All right, what do we got here?
Fourth level spell for bards, druids, sorcerers, wizards, knowledge domain clerics, circle of sports, druids, and oathbreaker paladins. It is an action to cast 90-foot range, 10-foot radius sphere, verbal spot material component. That material component is 3 nutshells. Delicious. Love that. Adorable. Durations of minute concentration, school's enchantment. The spell assaults and twists creatures' minds, spawning delusions and provoking uncontrolled action. This sounds sweet so far. Each creature in a 10-foot radius sphere centered on a point you choose within range must succeed on a wisdom saving throw whenever you cast the spell or be affected by it. Well, we should do a video on why these words suck and how we should rewrite rules text, but that's not what we're talking about currently. I'll touch on it to you later.
Yeah,
An effective target can't take reactions and must roll a d10 at the start of each of its turns to determine its behavior on that turn. So everything in the big area rolls a save. If they fail, they are affected by confusion. And on the start of its turns, it rolls a d10 to see what happens. On a 1, the creature uses all its movement, move in a random direction to determine the direction. Roll a d8 and assign a direction to each die face. The creature doesn't take an action this turn. That's usually the best option you can get. 2 to 6, the creature doesn't move or take action this turn. Okay, that's also pretty good. Yeah. 7 to 8, the creature uses its action to make a melee attack against a randomly determined creature within reach. If there is no creature within its reach, the creature does nothing this turn. That option often is going to be attacks you or one of its allies. More often than not, it's going to be you, just because of how monsters tend to engage things. But it'll vary encounter to encounter. And then 9 to 10 is the creature can move normally. So a fifth of the time, whenever something fails the save, they'll still perform normally anyway, yes, which will feel terrible. At the end of each of its turns, an affected creature can make a wisdom saving throw. If it succeeds, the effect ends early on the target. And if you upcast this, the radius increases by 5 feet for each level above it, which means sometimes you'll cast this to hit more things, but more often than not, you're just not going to cast the spell because the 10-foot radius sphere is very small for the effect that you're getting.
Yeah, that's my only real nitpick with this one. Not super happy about the area of effect, but I do like the spell. Tell me I'm wrong.
Every time I read Confusion, I'm like, this has to be good-ish, right? It's a big area saver die. It makes a lot of people potentially have a bad time. I already don't like personally casting spells where the outcome might be nothing happens, and this definitely is that kind of case. It can affect more than one creature, so it's not often going to do nothing. But then the fact that there's also 2 outcomes that are like, if I roll a 7 through 10, sometimes it just takes its turn as normal anyway. Sometimes it just attacks my buddy still. Sometimes it just takes its turn and does whatever it was going to do normally. And even though it failed my wisdom saving throw, I'm sitting concentration on this. Nothing is productive is happening. I don't have any, like, if it fails the save, something debilitating happens to it. If something fails a banishment, it's gone. If something fails a polymorph, it's a squirtle. If something fails a hold person or hideous laughter, they're meaningfully debilitated. This isn't always that. 2 to 6 is kind of that. 2 to 6 is kind of they're meaningfully always debilitated, right? Like they're not restrained or anything. They're not getting paralyzed or anything to that effect. They just don't move or take actions. So it's not better than the conditions that are imposed by even something like a hideous laughter that drops them prone. So that's where I end up starting to really like deconstruct this and go, well, I basically need to hit 4 things with it to want to cast it outright, given how much worse all these modes are than all the other saber dice, even lower level than it. And even then, the ones that pass, I'm sad. The ones that fail, I'm still going to be sad a large percentage of the time. And that leaves me with a spell where I'm like, I don't think most of the outcomes here are in your favor.
I don't know. I mean, all right, yes, you do need to hit multiple creatures with it, because some of them are going to pass. Maybe they won't. I don't know. But yeah, you want to at least be affecting a couple of creatures. Now, I kind of disagree with you on the outcomes here, because I think, and the only one that really makes it is arguable is 7 and 8. All right, 1, I don't know if they're necessarily always going to be attacking, or not always, but likely to be attacking you. I mean, if the battle's going on, there could be anyone within their reach. Like, all right, does that mean like in their reach without having to move?
Yes.
Ah,
So if they have a pole arm, they will attack anything within 10 feet of it. If
Okay.
it is a short, a short sword or whatever, it'll attack anything within 5 feet of it.
All right. Well, that makes a little bit of difference. Um, but yeah, if you're casting this spell, I don't know, try and engineer the combat to where if they gotta get to you, they're also next to one of their friends.
You know, I think this also looks like this environment where it's better would be an encounter starting, right? And they're not on the party yet. So 1 through 8 all look like good outcomes, right? Because you throw this down on the
Yeah.
enemies, some of them hit each other, some of them don't take actions, all those kinds of things. That can be debilitating. Is that better than 4th level fireball? Is that better than hitting them with a giant area of effective damage if you've got creatures stacked in this space anyway?
Yeah, probably not.
Eh?
However,
Maybe?
well, I mean,
Sometimes?
not all these classes get fireball. This might be good for a bard. Um,
Bard get magical secrets so they can get anything, but that is
yeah,
later. I think Bard might be the most compelling argument. As early game Bards, you use this as an AoE debilitating tool, but you have Hypnotic Pattern at your disposal, and that actively shuts down anything that you'd like it to. Like, Hypnotic Pattern is backbreaking and is a full level lower than this.
I feel like this is a lot more fun. Um, one more thing to say about 7 and 8 here. Yeah, maybe they'll hit you or an ally, but if they're playing strategically and they hit somebody that's on your side, but they don't necessarily want to attack, they want to break your concentration. Instead, they take a wild swing at the paladin with 26 armor class and fail miserably. That's as good as 1 through 6 then.
In the exact environment where you're in range of it and your AC 26 Paladin are in range of it, then
Because you're
yes.
hanging around next to your paladin because you cast this spell.
Sure.
And
Like, I just don't see that happening that often, like where that exact setup comes down, right? Because the moment anything disperses and aren't in the area, you don't want to cast this on one target because it's just
no,
worse than like every other Saber die in the game. I don't even really like casting this on 2 targets just because the outcomes are so varied and sometimes just nothing happens, and that's
I don't
really
like.
bad.
Well, see that the outcomes I'm fine with. I'm really willing to roll those dice. Where I don't want to cast it on just 2 people is because even if one or both of them fails their save, they get to make another save next round. Don't love that.
Yeah, they keep making saves for the rest of the spell's
Yeah.
duration. I can envision there being encounters where this is debilitating, right? I can envision there being a group of gnolls or whatever, and at the beginning, before the fight even goes down, you go confusion them, 2 of them make attacks against each other, one of them skips their turn, one of them acts normally, you're really happy with that outcome. Only one of them engages you, you slaughter it, then the encounter just rolled over, right? That encounter probably rolled over by a myriad of other 4th level spells and 3rd level spells and a couple of 2nd level spells. And that's where I really start to go, this does have powerful text. There's just cheaper, more efficient ways to do, I think, what this is largely doing that is going to be a lot more consistent. And I'm all for consistency. This could be, like, I think if you're like Bob and you love the variance and the chaos of it, this could be fun. I would expect you to be disappointed in a couple encounters whenever something rolls a 9 twice in a row and you're like, even though they failed the whiz saves, this still nothing to them, and the other one passed. Now I got like a 4th level spell, my concentration for nada.
All right. Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that because I was going to bring up my love of the chaos and randomness.
It's a big thing a lot of people like in D&D.
Yeah.
It's rolling dice after all.
Yeah. But this is it's flavorful.
Yeah, for sure. I like every time I read the modes, I'm like, these seem like there will be environments where that's good. Like even 7-8, while if an encounter gets to it where they're on top of the group already, 7-8 is where it's at its worst. If you're doing this prior to them getting on top of you, I'm like, but there's so many other better options. But if you don't have those better options, this will still be effective. So I think that probably earns it a 3. Like it's like a fine little thing to pull out of your back pocket that will do its job serviceably enough in enough encounters where it'll be like, yeah, that was solid. That was a powerful little 4th level effect. I think I talk like it's worse more often than I like face the reality of what it is. So if you see me other videos being like confusion's hot trash, I don't like it, but it'll probably do the job well enough.
All right. Here's something. This doesn't say it has to be cast in combat. So crowded
No.
marketplace.
A little bit of metal have never hurt nobody, right?
Well, I mean, no, a lot of people are gonna get hurt.
Yeah,
But
that was the joke.
okay. But yeah, that could be fun.
Yep.
I mean, an evil marketplace.
Sure. Or you're the evil player character, more
Yes.
likely. One of my first groups running joke was we are neutral leading good, and that's just the blatant lie for we're definitely chaotic evil to some level. Like we're doing random nonsense and trying to say, oh, but we're doing largely good things, even though we're lighting towns on fire, and all the other utter nonsense and complete lack of foresight that comes with being an adventurer.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think we've covered this pretty well. We both know our reasons for liking and not liking it so much. But yeah. Anything else to say?
This most complicated and messy. Let us know in your comments what you think about it.
Yeah, please do. All right. Well, that was Confusion. Thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us. Let us know what you think in the comments and like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns and Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of The Spell, and other fun things.